Thursday, July 16th, I had an accident. No other cars, no other property damage other than the trailer. But I wanted to share with you my experience, so hopefully prevent one of y'all from having the same issue. So real quick, I'm going to run through a bunch of stuff, a couple things personal, but I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. So before the day even started, so on during May and June I took a furlough, and then the next thing is I've got 12 horses, 20 goats, 8 dogs, and 5 cats. So my wife is real good at taking care of that stuff while I'm gone, but the projects just add up. So I like to have every other Sunday off. At this point, I had worked 2 Sundays in a row, so a little bit of overwhelmed feeling. Also, all this virus stuff and the masks and all that, it just really messes with my head. So it's little things, like all this stuff is just little stuff. Most of it is little stuff. Wife having the second miscarriage in 8 months was added on there before the day even started. So this is all stuff just kind of running in the background. So the day starts, I have an argument with my wife before I ever even leave the house. Argument with her. Get to my first stop and I can't get in the front entrance. I go around the block trying to get into the back entrance. Can't get in the back entrance. So I called dispatch, or I can't get down the street to get into the back entrance. I called dispatch, called another driver, called the receiver, finally got it worked out. I had to go 3 intersections down just to get back to the street I needed to be on to get to the back entrance to the place. So I get there and I'm waiting in line. By this time I'm already an hour late. I was going to be 15 minutes early, but I'm an hour late. And a lady behind me pulled in, comes up to the truck as I'm on the phone with dispatch to tell them how late I am and all this. She comes up and says, "Hey, I only got 1 pallet. How much do you have?" I said, "Well, I've got about 6 pallets. I'm going to have to downstack everything." She said, "Well, can you let me go ahead of you?" And I'm like, "Oh, normally I would, but I'm already an hour too late to be here, and I'm definitely going to be late to my next stop. So I can't do it this time." She says, "I'm only getting paid $10 for this pallet. I've got 1 pallet. It's going to take 5 minutes." I said, "Okay, yeah, go ahead. You know, put me a little bit late, but go ahead." So all that gets done, I go to open the trailer doors, and I've got a pallet that has fallen against the driver's side trailer door, and the load bar wasn't put on right, the pallet wasn't stacked right, or it wouldn't have fell to start with. So I have to spend 20 minutes downstacking all that inside the trailer before I can even open the doors. So open the doors back in. That morning, dispatch specifically told me I have to break it down at this customer. They've been telling the drivers to leave, but I need you to break it down to make sure it's there. This is from sales. So I get in there, get everything unloaded. There's a couple sideways pallets that I have to use a manual jack for. Little thing, a little frustrating. So I get in there and I say, "Okay, where do you want me to break this down?" "Oh, y'all just leave. Y'all just drop it off and leave." I said, "Well, I was told specifically to break this down." "No, y'all just go ahead and y'all just drop it off and leave." So I called dispatch, who called sales. Sales called me. One thing after another. I'm there for 45 minutes just standing there. And like I said, I'm late to my next stop. My next stop was at 2 o'clock. And I get there at 3:30. I've been to this place before. This is where the accident happened. I've been to this place before. The first thing that's wrong with that is I pull in, I go to the wrong door. I go to the shipping door versus the receiving door. And then finally get to the receiving door and back up. And I go against the dock, or what I think is the dock. I go against the dock real easy like I always do. And set the brakes. I'm going to go back to the back dock to try to get in. And I look down and I've hit one of those door destroyers. one of those yellow stoppers that usually aren't there for anything but to destroy your door. And it just barely, like the door was still on, and so I went ahead and adjusted and got back over. And I'll show you pictures of what that looked like. So at this point, I saw that damage, and I thought, okay, well, maybe it's not bad enough to have to be replaced. I'll just ask the shop whenever I get back. And I go ahead and do the delivery, unload, get out, and when I try to shut the door, I've got to take a hammer and get the clip off the hook to even shut the door. And that's not a good thing. So I shut the door, and here's what I saw then. An interesting fact about this whole story is that while the trainers were at the national business meeting, I had a trainee with me, and I pointed that exact door destroyer out to him. And what I said to him was, hey, I never did see that, and you really got to get out and look and make sure you know what you're backing into, because I'm lucky I didn't hit that, because I never saw it. It brings me back to the question, what caused all of this? And it was my brain, not 100%. I just wasn't in the right mind frame because of all the stuff going on, all the stuff that happened before was ongoing, all the stuff that happened that day. I was frustrated. I just wasn't all there. So how do we fix this? How do we prevent it in the future? Obviously, get out and look. Getting out and look every time is what they want you to do. It's what Doc wants you to do. Get out and look on every back. And I understand that that's not practical. We're not going to get out and look before we back every time. Backing in between two trucks at a truck stop, we're not going to get out and look. I mean, we can see it as we're making our approach. We're not going to get out and look. We're just not. There's not a truck driver out there that every time before they back the truck into anywhere is going to get out and look every single time. What I'm going to do from now on is identify when I'm having a rough day. And that might be just being sleepy because I'm due out at 3 a.m. and I have to get up at midnight and drive into work or whatever. Having a fight with a family member. Being at a receiver and being there forever, it seems like, waiting on them to call you, and I'm just kind of sitting here twiddling my thumbs. I got things to do. I'm already late to my next appointment. What's going to happen? And the load being messed up, the pallets falling over, or the sideways pallets when it clearly says we can't have sideways pallets for this customer. Whatever it is, there's a million things that could happen to screw your train of thought up, and that at that point you identify that you're having a bad day, like I'm going to do, and then I will get out and look. If there is any question at all, if it's a tight back, like it was at this last customer, I need to get out and look because I know that I'm not going to see everything and my brain's not 100%. So that's the way that I could have prevented this, is getting out to look, knowing that I'm not going to see everything because of my brain and being frustrated. So hopefully this helps somebody in the future, one of y'all. It sucks that I'm the example, but I'll take the embarrassment to help y'all out. So hopefully it works.